Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream. No, this not stream. This episode of Europa Universalis IV, where we are continuing as Lubeck. And I just realised the music's got a bit louder. Let's turn it down again. Okay, so what has happened thus far? Well, we have taken over Saxe-Lauenburg. It is now a vassal. We have also taken over Lubeck. It is also a vassal. And we've let Lubeck itself grow in greater prosperity. The Renaissance has spawned. It's still only 5 years in. We do not have any of the Renaissance having spread to us yet. It is only actually in a couple of places in Italy, but it is spreading to us slowly but surely. We do still have Protect Trade on. We are making a decent amount of money for our size. How are we doing in terms of military? Militarily, we are at maximum. We have used a little bit of manpower. I think that was against rebels. And we're going to need to deal with some fairly high liberty desire. But I am hoping that while we're improving relations with these guys, and it can go up to 200, we should be able to deal with the liberty desire just fine. We are able to advance in admin and military tech. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't click those yesterday. I think I might just go ahead and click them now. Unless I was waiting for other people to catch up. Oh, I think that's what it was. We were waiting for other people to get the -5s as well. And now we can grab those. So it's just going to be Diplotech that we're behind on. We can also now choose a idea group. And what do I want to do with this? That's a good question. I think probably my usual opener for most countries is economic ideas. I really do rate economic. I love their capstone, in particular the development cost 20%, and that's going to be especially useful if we're going tall, which I am very much anticipating that we will. So I think I'm just going to go with my usual opener here and stick with economic ideas. We are making a tiny bit of money. I think otherwise we can just unpause and let things happen. We have galleys and cogs currently sitting back and relaxing. Who are you fighting? Sweden versus Riga. Denmark, Sweden, Norway. Versus the Livonians, Riga and Teutons. So this is Denmark trying to expand into Livonia, as they very often try to do. And we are allied with Denmark, so actually Denmark being busy is good. Because it also means that Sweden's not going to try and split away, which is one thing we were a little bit concerned about happening when we went after these two. If Denmark and Sweden started fighting, then suddenly our troops are going to be needed in many more places, and having a strong Denmark is actually kind of in our favour, especially as we've broken the sound toll permanently. It's given us a huge bonus in Lubeck for the free shipping through the sound. Lots of local trade power, lots of, in fact, a solid number trade power, and also a percentage increase, which is mind-bogglingly good. Do we want to try and save up 1,000 ducats to upgrade this to a tier 3? Because a World Trade Center is incredibly powerful. It gives you a lot of bonuses, because if we take a look at Genoa, which is one of the few in the world at the start, I think Genoa and Venice, it gives local trade power plus 25, institution spread plus 30, and all of the provinces in the area which you own get local development cost minus 10, sailor modifier plus 100, and then possible number of buildings plus 1, and then as a global modifier you also get the yearly navy tradition decay. It's got some nice stuff going for it. So we lose prestige and gain some diplo. That is actually okay, particularly because we are lagging behind a little bit in diplomacy. So I think the next time that there is an election, we'll probably go for the diplomatic candidate, because we are ahead of time in admin and in military. And military in particular we're not going to need, because we're a fair amount ahead of time in that. We can build a church in Lubeck. Are there any other places we could and should build a marketplace? I don't think so. So a church could actually be good. It's going to give us a good amount of money. So go ahead, begin building the church there. Who do we have in charge as a faction? We are the guilds. The guilds give us construction cost reduction. Perfection! I like it. It's good. And do we still have unhappy minions? We do. But actually Saxe-Lauenburg is going to fall into place sooner rather than later. The next question would be, when can I start integrating these guys? Not until 1464, so another 6 years from now we can begin doing that. Okay, so while there is a slight lull in things going on, I just want to say there's going to be a stream of the big multiplayer game, which we started yesterday. That was yesterday, the 6th of June, and is going to be continuing this evening, Sunday, the 7th of June at the same time. So starting at 6 PM British Summer Time. Yesterday's game was fantastic. I was playing as Holland. I did not die, which is probably one of the main things that you could expect in a 30-player, or one of the main things you should aim for in a 30-player multiplayer game. I'm currently allied with Burgundy and France. We've kind of made a bit of a block here, as well as with Quill down in Savoy. So it's very much the Francophone region plus the Dutch. And yeah, it's going well. We've had a couple of player casualties. Mostly in Germany. I almost got slapped around by England. They did actually cause me to go bankrupt within like the first year of the game. It was a crazy bad start. Bankruptcy in like the first year and a 1-1-3 ruler. It was not nice. But seem to be bouncing back. Got very strong allies at the moment and beginning to look around a little bit more. Currently controlling Gelderland and Utrecht, and then some of Brabant, which we bought from Burgundy, and then also a vassal in Friesland. So we have everything we need to form the Netherlands. We just need to get the right admin. But the future is looking pretty good for us. So I do hope that you will join us for that. It's been a fantastic game so far. Constant warfare. It's been kind of crazy for that. Not necessarily with us, but around the world. And I would really urge you to join us. So again, twitch.tv/Mordred Viking this evening, Sunday, the 7th of June. Starting at 6 PM BST, and I really do hope you'll join us, because worth it! Alright, expulsion of the merchants. Our merchants have been too successful in trade, and the owners of the local trade node are upholding the mercantilist ideals and are now attempting to expel our merchants from it. So we can say Bohemia's opinion on Lubeck goes down, and we lose some trade power, or Bohemia, or the opposite. This is in Saxony. Do I really care about Saxony? Do I have anybody in? I do have somebody in Saxony. So yes, I do care. They stay. We're going to back the abilities of our merchants in Saxony to the hilt. Or at least to the first shiny coin we find. Right, frequency of elections. So we can have frequent elections, which will reduce the term time by 1. It'll also reduce the maximum absolutism, so we'll never be very absolutist. We can increase it and gain absolutism. We can consolidate power in the Doge, which increases governing capacity by 250. So this is very much expecting to have a larger realm. We can go for disperse power across the cities, which will have a term duration of 4. Trade power abroad goes up by 10%, and we get an extra diplomat. And we have been struggling a little bit with a lack of diplomats. Or we can go for sortition, which reduces corruption and has the election by lottery. Elections only occur when the ruler dies. I don't think I want sortition. I think one of these. So right now, our election duration is 4. So we could make it 3. So every 3 years we have a new election, which will mean we have a high turnover in terms of doges. We'll probably have more high-skill people as a whole, because there's a higher turnover for bringing in more people. It'll also allow us to be a lot more flexible in terms of choosing what we want to do in terms of monarch points. However, consolidating power in the Doge, I can't really see us being big enough for that one. That's really something like Novgorod. Novgorod would benefit from consolidate power in the Doge. Maybe Venice. And disperse power across the cities does give us the trade power, so it would make us a lot better at foreign trade and then the diplo relations. I think I'm going to go for the term time length. So we're going to have these frequent elections. And there we go. We can always change that later. And speaking of frequent elections, immediately we have another one. So our Republican tradition right now, I'm feeling is fairly low. We have a 48-year-old, which isn't the oldest, but we do want to go a little bit more towards diplomatic candidates. So let's go and grab that. So we've now got Dieter Tiedemann as the alderman of Lubeck. And he is a sinner. Tolerance of the true faith -2, which makes more likely to have uprisings, which is a bit rubbish. Lauenburg is going to be peaceful soon. The other one, Lüneburg, almost. Lauenburg and Lubeck, that's definitely not going to be confusing. No sirree. Candidates vie for opportunities. As a republic, we strive to strike a balance between our economic interests and tradition. We choose our advisors accordingly. Families who know this, patricians and aristocrats alike, try to plan ahead and get their representatives into positions of opportunity before they seek to advise Dieter Tiedemann directly. A position offering such opportunities recently opened, and now the different parties are pressuring us for it. There can be no pleasing everyone, and somebody has to be appointed soon. So somebody experienced in military, which would give the aristos a boon. It would also give us a cheap commander, which is a Miltech guy. Or we can go for a commerce, which is a cheap trader. I mean, that's that's obvious. We're going to go for the cheap trader. And we're immediately going to fire this guy and bring in Konrad Schmerz, who is a 35-year-old, but half price. And I'm actually half tempted to boost his skill. We are making a decent amount of money. Now, here's the question. How much does a tier 2 usually cost? 4 ducats. So this guy would be 2. So it's an increase of 1.5. We can afford that. So let's boost you to a level 2. We're paying 2 ducats a month. I'm okay with this. This is totally acceptable. Marvellous. Alright, we have too few rivals. Okay, let's take a look at that. So currently we have no enemies. We can rival Brandenburg, Denmark, Hamburg, and Verden. Brandenburg and Denmark are allies, so I don't want to do that. Hamburg is a member of our trade league, so I don't want to do that. Which kind of leaves Verden. Verden is not a member of our trade league. They are threatened by us. They do have a fair number of allies, so Brunswick, East Frisia, Lorraine, and Mantua, so we wouldn't be able to go after them straight away. But I think that Verden is probably the best option right now, because the other three we're trying to keep friendly. Alright, good stuff. Good stuff. Money is still rolling in. We do have an army, but we're not training you, and we probably should be, so let's go ahead and recruit a general. And you know what? I think having our rulers as generals right now is fine, because we get a new one every 3 years anyway, and if they die, who cares? Just hire it, or we'll just elect another one. No problem. Don't need to worry about dynasties or heirs or anything like that. Republics are quite nice in that way. So tradition is going up by 1.3. Power projection is slowly going down, but it's still pretty high. Are we embargoing everybody that we should be? I don't think so, because we're not embargoing Verden. That's the trade league. Where's the embargo? Am I not embargoing anybody? That seems unlikely. Okay, so both of my minions are now friendly. I would say that Saxe-Lauenburg is a little bit friendlier. So we'll go ahead and cancel your mission and then send you off to Verden to make sure that we initiate a embargo. Can't do that while we have a truce. Ah, okay. Ragusa has embraced the Renaissance. Interesting. So how long is the truce with Verden? That is going to end in 67, so that's still 8 years from now. Alright, never mind. So who else are our rivals? We've got Mecklenburg and we've got Brunswick. Mecklenburg, I don't think we are going to be able to embargo. However, Brunswick, we absolutely can. So Brunswick we should embargo. And then we are going to send our diplomat back. No, that's Mecklenburg. To Saxe-Lauenburg so that we can maintain high relations with them and make sure that our vassals continue to pay their dues. And so long as their liberty desire is below 50, they do pay money. Not a huge amount. Definitely not as much as if you actually controlled the territory yourself. It's only 10% of their income. But hey, money is money. And I like money. Alright. Now, how is the AE situation? It's gone down a lot, actually. An awful lot. I'm kind of surprised by just how much that's gone down. Shadow Kingdom. An incident in the Empire has begun. With the Kingdom of Italy is still formally part of the Holy Roman Empire, it has, in many ways, turned into a shadow kingdom, with the Italian states acting independently of the Emperor. The failure of successive emperors to restore imperial authority in the region has also left large areas under the control of these states that outright reject imperial authority. By now, the question for many Italian states is, why should they allow the Emperor any authority over their lands? So if we take a quick look at the Holy Roman Empire, we can see the Shadow Kingdom, and we have some new buttons. We can basically choose which way we want our nation to vote. So at the moment, 64 out of the 81 princes are voting for this, which is abandoning Italy. Austria will lose 10 prestige and also lose 20 imperial authority. Italian nations within the HRE that have been reined in will remain in the empire. Italian nations that have not been reined in will leave the empire. Brescia and Bergamo will no longer be part of the Holy Roman Empire. So Milan has been reined in. Interesting. Or we must rein in the Italians. The emperor has until the year 1490 to rein in as many Italian nations into the empire as possible. And currently, a minority of princes is voting for that. Let's just see if that vote changes. Doesn't look like it. How long do we have to vote on this? Oh, I think what happens is if we choose one and then the emperor chooses the same one, then he gains imperial authority depending on the majority. So if he goes against and reins in the Italians, he loses 10 imperial authority, whereas if he goes with it and abandons Italy, then he gains 10 imperial authority. I think that's how it works. And basically everyone is pretty happy with him, with the exception of Verden, who isn't. Verden is backing East Frisia. And there are currently 62 princes in the HRE. It has quite a bit of power. The Emperor favours that option, so there is a way of indicating which way the Emperor wants to go as the Emperor. I thought it would be like a graphical representation on here to show which one he's doing, but apparently it's not. You just need to hover over and look at the bottom. So the Emperor actually wants to abandon Italy already. I think I'm going to vote for abandon too. Not bothered about the Italians. They're about as far away in Europe as it is possible to be. Ah, here we go. You have until 1461 to cast your vote. So 21st of March 1461. Cool. So Treasury is still going up nicely. Is there anything else that we want to build in our capital? I don't think there is anything we can build. It's kind of amazing to think we are still an OPM technically. I mean, yes, we have vassals, but... Oh, speaking of vassals, Lubeck is actually ready to be annexed. We just need to maintain over 190 relations with Lubeck, and we can only do this in 4 years' time. So we've got to basically maintain that for another 4 years. Can I add Lauenburg to the Trade League? No, because they're already a subject. Speaking of subjects, do we have any subject interactions we could do? For example, Scutage would stop them joining wars, but would have them pay us more. We can force them to embargo, the same people that we are. And we can placate them, which will cost prestige and give liberty desire. I don't think I want to do any of those. We are pretty much controlling them purely through diplomatic power. Are there any other things we could do? We have these options as well. Spy network construction, improve relations plus 15, and then just trade node power. I think I'm going to stick with the trade node power. So Casia has announced Genoa as the new rival. Genoa has announced Milan as a new rival. Alright then, January. So we've got 2 more months until the vote is decided. Lubeck has improved relations. Oh no, that's us improving relations with Lubeck, so let's cancel that. Now, are there any relations that we need to be worrying about? Yes, we need to be worrying about all the relations of our trade network. So let's go ahead and just automatically assign diplomats to our allies. And there it is. Chancellor reports the Shadow Kingdom. It is time to abandon Italy. So Austria loses the prestige, they lose the imperial authority, but gain some because they voted in favour, or with the rest of the princes. The Italian nations within the HRE have been reined in will remain in the empire. Italian nations that have not been reined in will leave. And on the back of that, the Emperor is actually able to institute a reform. Which is a little bit surprising, considering he lost 20 imperial power. He gained 10, but he still lost 20. So he has gone and done Institute Reichsregiment, which gives him an extra diplomatic reputation, and then gives us all -2 local unrest, which is actually really good. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the Imperial Map Mode and see who actually stuck with it. So Milan was not reigned in, neither was Genoa. The Pope was, so the Pope stayed. Perugia stayed, Siena stayed, so did Ferrara, so did Lucca, so did Mantua, and Trent, and Savoy. I don't know if Savoy counts as Italian or French. Piedmontese, I'm guessing that's Italian. Alright then. Technology, Diplo. Yes, I would absolutely love to get another Diplo tech. That would be amazing, because that gives me the 20% income boost for the extra trade, and boom, money goes up. So Saxe-Lauenburg is done as well, so I think what I'm going to do now is just assign both of these to my allies, and we're just going to make sure that we keep everybody in the Trade League as happy as can be. Meanwhile, we are generating a good amount of money. We can get a new idea. We are 5 years ahead of time. I might wait with the ideas until we know that we are definitely getting that. We are also going to save money, actually, thinking about this, until we can embrace the institution. We will be one of the first people in the area, except for the fact that Hamburg already has, to get Renaissance. We're at 69%. It's rising pretty quickly, I would imagine. Yeah, 1.56 a month. Nearby friendly province has Renaissance already, and we're getting a plus 70%. Guild leaders rival noble status. In Lubeck, the presence of guilds has bred a new sort of influence, and a new sort of influential person. Leading figures in the Guild of Lubeck are not only growing richer than many aristocrats in the province, but they also wield power, all while lacking the familial ties that have defined the rulers of the city for a long time. Perhaps this sort of shift is inevitable, especially considering the nature of our republic. Nevertheless, at this stage, the only thing that's certain is that the nobles in Lubeck have an aversion to these ill-mannered new rich, and would like to see them ousted from local political proceedings. So the aristocrats can lose influence, the guilds can gain influence, we lose some prestige, but productivity goes up, or we lose some power from everything and gain manpower. I'm okay losing 15 prestige, I think. Production efficiency would be nice. Yeah, I'd much rather that than losing 10 of every political power. This would be 10% income. Okay. So we're 5 years ahead of everything, which is awesome. Quite happy with that. $61. Now, another reason I'm not expanding is because I know that we're going to run into problems with maintaining cohesion. I mean, we're already at like 45, 46 base for Liberty Desire. Okay, we have another election. We're going to vote for somebody else. What do we want? Well, our ideas are in admin. We have now caught up in Diplo, and we have a +2 Diplo, so I think we're going to go ahead and grab a bureaucrat. That will do nicely. Oh, we could have been the first person to grab that, which would have been a innovativeness boost. Oh well. Oh wow, we're righteous. Which means that yearly Republican tradition is 0.5, so keeping this guy in power for a while might not actually be a bad idea. Because we're currently gaining 1.8 a year, which in 3 years would be 3. Call it about 5? So we would be losing 5 Republican tradition effectively every time we re-elect this guy. He's 32, he's quite young. But we could keep Julius Bacher in power quite a long time, I suspect. Improvements in government technology. A few local workers in the administration have discovered what they claim is a more efficient way to handle documents. Obviously, they do not know what they are talking about. But can it hurt to try out the new ideas? So, yeah, do it. Because we're going to have plenty of ways of reducing inflation soon enough, once we've got these economic ideas embraced. Speaking of embracing, how's the institution? 81%. Getting closer. I kind of regret not having taken that idea now. For the innovativeness, I think it's like 3 points of innovativeness had we been first. I do kind of wish it was a sliding scale rather than just the first person. So if you're like 10th, then you'd get 1 innovativeness or something, rather than just first place takes everything. Although I guess it did pressure me to get it earlier when I was getting the military technology, for example. Subject Liberty Desire is staying pretty well in hand. We could build 2 more ships. Is there any call to build more ships? We could get 2 more galleys. We'd be able to fight a bit better then. We'd have 5. Especially if we did end up at war. Well, we're allied to Denmark, so that's again unlikely. And us with Denmark, I don't think anybody's really going to be able to best us at sea, although actually Wolgast has quite a few. They have 7, 8 galleys. Yeah, okay, maybe we do need to invest in a few more galleys. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's just order up 2 more. They're only 10 ducats each, it's fine. A siege engineer from Perugia, Francesco Malvesi, has arrived at our court offering his services to the Syndic. He claims to be well versed in the art of building the formidable Italian bastion fort, the Tras Italien, which our military theorists have been desperate to emulate. However, his services will not come cheaply. Except for the fact that he is a 50% cheaper military engineer. And I do like 50% cheaper military engineers. We can hire him. He would be, again, 1.5 ducats more. No, he's only a ducat more than this guy. Hire him, absolutely. What a boon. Awesome. So it's only actually our admin guy who's a level 1 right now. And he's only 30. Sweet. So when this occurs, how much is this actually going to cost me? We don't know. It's not going to be a huge amount. In fact, it's not going to cost me anything, because our one and only province will have the institution. And we are very, very, very close to getting it. That's going to be in, what, 2 months? Okay, 3 months. From when I just said 2 months. Guild push for Mercantilist Reforms. Mercantilist economic theory has become fashionable amongst the influential guild members lately. They are, of course, highly knowledgeable in these matters, and also, coincidentally, likely to benefit from the policies they are backing. So we can get mercantilism in exchange for 100 power. Now, here's a question. Strengthening government... No, it's not strengthening government, it's increasing mercantilism. Here it is. Costs 100. 100 Diplo. Or we can do it from here, and it costs 100 admin and 100 Diplo. So it basically spreads the cost a bit more. No. In fact, we can't afford to explore dead ends, gives us it for cheaper. This would basically make it cost 50, whereas this one makes it cost 100. Can't afford to explore, and I think every time that comes up, I'm going to press this button. And I'm just going to promote mercantilism on my own. This is going to cost us 1 ducat. We'll throw them a coin. It's fine. Boom. And thus we have Renaissance, so it means we have the dev cost and the construction cost reduction, which is awesome. And 3 years ahead of time now. Okay. We'll continue to stack up the stuff. Poland. They tell us the event of the Prussian Confederation seeks Polish support. They shall have our full support to battle. Poland's opinion of Danzig changed by 100. Danzig's opinion of Poland changed by 100. And they get an alliance with Danzig. So Danzig is just split away from the Teutons. And is currently fighting against the Teutons. So what is Danzig? Danzig is a oligarchic republic. I always wondered what exactly that event was all about. I have not played as the Teutonic Order for a long time. And now that the government reforms have changed dramatically for theocracies, might be time to play as the Teutons again. Maybe not immediately, seeing as we're already playing as a North German faction. But certainly, at some point, playing as them would be interesting. Because I am kind of curious to see how they've changed, because I don't think I've played as them since, like, EU3? I'm not even sure I've ever played as them in EU4. I must have. I have no idea. Probably. Alright, so Treasury is still looking pretty healthy. Are we still training? No, we are not, because our leader was unelected. So we'll start you training again, because I would like to try and keep my drill up. Like, we're keeping them at full strength anyway, so we might as well. Our Republican nation has given up many of the old ideals about nobility and feudal rule, but sometimes, when they are of use to us, we are willing to reconsider them on a situational basis. Such a situation has arisen in Lubeck, where a local aristocrat claims that land just across our border is in fact part of his family's rightful domain. Local merchants have petitioned against this claim, having just negotiated a major trade deal with the neighbouring nation. For a republic, they argue, trade should be the first concern. The claims of nobles lead only to war and misery. So we can gain a claim on Wismar, which is Mecklenburg, or we gain trade power, traders gain influence, and Mecklenburg likes us a bit more. I'm going to do that, though Mecklenburg is definitely in our way. There's a large part of, in fact, all of Mecklenburg is in the Mecklenburg state, which is what Lubeck is. And I would like to take that because if we do get the world port, it is this area which is going to benefit from having the world port. So, soz. Sweden is threatening my trade. Sweden? Wait, Sweden independent? Nope. Sweden is still a junior partner and yet still allowed to embargo? Denmark, rein in your minion. How are we doing? Still 3 years ahead. Keep checking too often. We were almost at 1464, so I'll need to double check when exactly I'm going to be able to annex these guys. And I think I'm going to annex the bigger one first, because it's bigger. 6, 14, or 5. Yeah, definitely going to annex this first, because that's going to allow us to start expanding to other places rather than a 5 dev. And also we would have to wait 10 years before annexing the next one. So we can do this on the 27th of October of this year. So we've got to wait another 10 months. A brilliant Danish inventor from Denmark has come to seek our patronage after falling out with the kingdom. Franz Rosenborn has been described by some as one of the most great minds of this age, producing many mechanical and chemical innovations beyond the understanding of most. So we can gain innovativeness or prestige. I'm going to take the innovativeness. And I'm hoping, yeah, Denmark still really likes us, so that should be just fine. Anyway, this does seem to be a good spot to end this episode, so thank you very much for watching. Do hope you're enjoying it. If you are, be sure to hit that follow button to get notifications when I'm live again in the future. If you're really enjoying this, then do consider subscribing. Helps the channel out, lets me do more of this kind of content. If you want to support the channel other ways, check out the Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/MordredViking. And I just realised I said follow instead of subscribe. This is YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. And if you would like to see me in my more natural environment, which is Twitch these days, then you can find me at twitch.tv/MordredViking, where you should follow. Speaking of Twitch, I am doing that big multiplayer game of Europa Universalis this evening, 6 PM BST. It's going to be great. I really do hope to see you there. What else do I need to say? Discord. If you want to join the community, they are a cool bunch, and it's always a real pleasure to see some new faces there. You can find us over on the Discord link, which you can find in the description below. Unfortunately, I don't have one of the fancy URLs for that. You've got to be paying more for that, and I ain't paying that much. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.